Hey everybody, we are going to show you kind of how to get started on your new budget bundle. I'm glad that you guys have kind of taken this plunge and want to make a difference with you and your family's budget this year. I really think these worksheets can help, and I hope this video will kind of help get you started and get you set on the right path. So first and foremost, what you need to do whenever you're starting a budget is you need to go through your checking account and you need to make a list of every single expense that you have. I'm not talking about, the times that you swipe just randomly. I'm talking about your monthly expenses. That's your first and foremost is what you need to do. And get those written down, whether they are a fixed amount or a variable amount. Variable amounts would be things like your water bill and electric bill. Your fixed amounts would be something like your mortgage. Whether the numbers change or not, they're still an expense. So get those written out. Also get your average income written out as well. I know that can change for a lot of people. Some people are on salary, which is nice, and others, are on hourly. Or you can be like me and technically be a hourly salary, if that makes any sense. It's kind of confusing, but get your average income written down and then get your expenses written out. That's your first and foremost. So those things are going to go in this section right here, okay? So this is your bills and your income. Like I said, my income from General Mills, it does fluctuate a little bit. It's still relatively the same amount every time, but it does fluctuate a little bit. My husband is on salary as he's a school teacher, and so both of these incomes are in here. Now, I will say that some of these amounts I have changed just for privacy. My husband does not want, specific numbers out there, which I completely understand. So I've kind of changed these. So don't, they are relatively close because I feel like that's really important to give you guys an idea of what another family's budget looks like when doing this worksheet. But anyways, so my General Mills salary and my husband's school teacher salary are both in there. I put the days that we are paid. So I get paid twice a month on the 14th and the 28th, and then my husband gets paid once a month on the 20th. So what I do, the 28th, it can sometimes not come in until the 30th, and so I technically count that as just the first of the month paycheck. That's the easiest way for me to organize it and organize my thoughts. So basically my month starts on when I get paid on that last part of the month. That's what I consider as the next month. So even though my income, I got paid on December 28th of this month, that it was technically part of my January budget. That's just how I do it. It's completely up to you on how you want to do it, obviously, but that is what works for us. So that hope that makes sense with that. And then these are our monthly expenses. These are what come out every single month. I have some of them on auto draft and some of them are on manual payments. We'll get to that in a little bit about the difference between the two and why I choose some on others. But regardless, they are all in here. Now for our variable expenses, like we talked about a minute ago, so my water bill, I just kind of put the average amount or highest amount in this time of the month, or this time of the year, excuse me. Your electric bill changes depending on the season. So this is our average amount right now. And then we also have gas here as well. So I just kind of do an average amount and put it in there. Some people kind of do their budget differently with variable, but I just kind of change it on my overview according to the time of the year. Everything else is pretty well fixed for us. So all of these numbers pretty well stay the same. So this is our bill total down here. So then over here in this column, we have our digital and cash envelopes, and then our savings and sinking funds. So let's start with the digital and cash envelopes. This section is completely up to you on what you want to put in there, if you even want to use it. We have figured out that digital and cash envelopes work really well for certain areas in our life. So we have some digital envelopes, which what that means for us is we actually have different checking accounts for different things, basically. And so like we have a checking account that is only for fuel. So every time that on our paycheck tracker, we have a section for fuel. We just transfer the money from our main account into our fuel. And then we have a separate debit card that we use only for fuel. Same thing for here. We have an account that is for our pets, our cars, our household goods, and then my hair and beauty stuff. That is all one account that we keep. It's a little confusing sometimes. Sometimes, we obviously probably might spend a little bit more on pets if they have a vet bill, or if we have something happen with our car, we might use a little bit more for that, for the car maintenance. It kind of fluctuates every month, but this is what we have, this number is what we have figured out is what works for us. So that summed up together, that is what we transfer into this single account. We call it our PHV account, Pets, Home, and Vehicles. I added in beauty later on. And then we do our dining out fund money. These are actually cash envelopes. So we cash this money out and we keep it in our envelopes. We divvy this up between myself and my husband, as it's only the two of us. This is technically our allowance, as we say. Right now, we are not using this dining out money very much because we are kind of on a diet lifestyle change. So most of it's just going to fund money. We just keep it in one envelope regardless, and we spend it how we want, basically. So it's up to us on if we want to go see a movie that week or if we want to go out to dinner. It changes on a weekly basis. And then we have our groceries. So we also have a food checking account. And so I do online grocery pickup. And obviously you can't pay cash for that, so that is why we have a checking account for that. So I have a debit card that we use just at Walmart for groceries. This is just what we have figured out what works for us. What you have to do is sit down and think about how much you use. Go back. I actually went back like 6 months and kind of took an average amount and figured out where we could cut corners. We were spending a lot of money on dining out and groceries. So we have started meal planning every week, and we don't eat out very much at all, like I said. And that has helped our budget tremendously with this. So just sit down, kind of look at what you're spending, how much you think you'll need. And obviously these can always change. You don't, just because you stick with the number 1 month and you realize, oh crap, I was out of money 2 weeks into the month, maybe up it the next month. Your budget is a fluid document. Don't feel like you're stuck to it. You have, once you make a plan for it, you have to stick with it, but you do have to plan out some fun money. And if you're miserable and not, being happy and not figuring out, where you can have a little bit of extra, then I really recommend that you do that for yourself, because that's the only way you're going to be happy with doing a budget. All right, so down here, then we have our savings and sinking funds. So we have a savings account. Same thing with our checking account, except it is a actual savings account, but it's on our main list on our online banking, so we can just transfer this money over real easily. So that's a digital account. The rest of these, we actually do use cash envelopes for these. These are what we call a sinking fund. Sinking fund is basically you're saving up to spend it. So things that that are coming up that you want to save up for, so you have the money saved up to spend. So we save some every month for Christmas and birthday gifts throughout the year. We are saving for our 10-year anniversary in 2020. And then we also know we're going to have some personal property taxes due in October. And then my husband's classroom, he always needs a little bit of extra cash for some treasure chest toys and things like that. He always needs some more in the summer whenever he kind of redoes his classroom for the next year. So we save a little bit for that. So those, like I said, we cash out and put into envelopes that we just keep in our safe. So that is our overview. So this budget or this document will stay relatively the same every month. Like I said, it is fluid, so it can change a little bit, but this is basically your overall budget for the entire month. So from here, you have your paycheck trackers. Your paycheck trackers, depending on how many times you get paid a month, is how many paycheck trackers you'll actually use. I have included 4 in your bundle. So that would allow you, 2 people to get paid twice a month, which is on average what it is. Myself and my husband, like I said, we get paid 3 times. I get paid twice and he gets paid once. So we only use 3 paycheck trackers. So what this does, I use a zero-based budget. So that means what I do is I put all my income here. I do all of my bills that are coming out under that paycheck. Same for the envelopes and savings and sinking funds. Then anything left over is going to go to debt because we are in debt payoff mode right now. Now, if we had all of our debt paid off and we are in just savings mode, then we would make sure that this number is zeroed out and our savings account was, had everything left over in it. And that way, this number down here should be 0. I have included in here a bank account balance. So your starting bank account balance is the day that you get paid, whatever that amount is before you get paid is your starting bank account balance. I keep a checking account cushion. I actually budget one in every month. I do about $50, and that allows my bank account balance to grow. That way I am sure to always have a certain amount of money in there. But I make sure that this is zeroed out, that I spend every dollar of my paycheck going somewhere. And so then you just go into your paycheck trackers here. And in the next video, I will show you exactly how a paycheck tracker works.